Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for hanging with me on this Monday. Today I want to give you a swim jig and the little tweaks that I make to it as we go from dirty water to clear water, or a cloudy day to a sunny day. But a swim jig, unlike most baits, is a bait that you can throw in all conditions. You just kind of got to know what to do with your bait, how to fish it, and today I'm going to give you those details. So we'll start with the dirty water, and the key for me anytime I'm in water that has less than 8 inches of visibility is water column. I feel like bass are either going to be tucked down to the bottom, they're going to be on some type of cover, or they're going to be right underneath the surface. So for that reason, I really like the Alabama Shake. Now, if I'm in dirty water, it's going to typically be a black with a blue sapphire or a white, depending on what I think the forage is. But when I'm in dirtier water, it's usually straight white skirt and then a straight white trailer. I want that thing to glow, and I want them to be able to find it. Now, they're going to be feeling the kicking of the Alabama Shake. So when you have this bait, you're pulsing it right underneath the surface. You're shaking your rod. Typically, you're throwing this on braided line to really implement a lot of action in the bait. I like the white, and I really think water column is one of the most important things when you're in stained water. Now, you can also slow roll a swim jig with a swim bait trailer on there in dirtier water. That's more of a time of the year thing. I feel like when that water's, depending on where you live at in the country, but if you're in that like 60 to 70 range, I really like the Shake. And maybe if you live in the little bit further north, low 50s, I like the Shake. Maybe if you're down in Florida or something like that, 60 degrees, anything cooler than that's pretty cold down there. So slow rolling something on the bottom up until you get into that spawning 70-degree range. But that is a really good technique when you know you're around fish and you want to just fill the boat. Not my favorite search bait, but I feel like if I'm around fish and I have a little bit more of a vast area that I'm not going to just slowly drag something, a swim jig is your next best bet. It will put more fish in the boat if you're around bass and they're biting something moving than just about any other bait. Now, as we get into a little bit clear water, we'll say 8 to 16 inches of visibility. Not super clear, but a little bit clear. There's going to be a couple different ways that you're going to fish a swim jig. Now, the Alabama Shake still plays. I get kind of away from just the straight whites, and I'm more so your brim patterns. I do like a black and blue and green pumpkin because, again, you're moving this super fast, so they don't get a real good look at it. They're just basically seeing a silhouette. So black and blue, green pumpkin, those are still fairly natural colors. Now, if you have clouds or something, but you're still in relatively clear water, add a little white to your trailer. Maybe if you have a calm, sunny day, you don't need all this orange and chartreuse, just go with a straight green pumpkin. But those little tweaks are very important. And then also those translucent, skirts. Clear water, especially on those sunny, calm days, blue glimmer, something that doesn't just stop the light. You want some light penetration through that skirt, and the translucent colors are going to be your best bet for that. Now, if you have clouds roll up, you can still be throwing a blue glimmer or a translucent skirt, just put a white trailer on it. So you should be able to look at it in the water and be getting a good feel for that's going to work, that's not going to work. So cloudy, just add a straight white to it. If it's sunny, go with something a little bit more natural. And then if you have, stained water, straight white, but in that clear water, I'm typically always with a translucent skirt, and then I'll just change my trailer according to sun or clouds. Now, when we get in ultra clear water, this is going to be highland reservoirs or lakes that have a lot of hydrilla in it, or milfoil, something that's filtering out the water. I really like a swim jig with a swim bait on there. Now, this is going to be a couple of different scenarios. So again, I don't like to use this bait as a search bait, but when I know I'm around fish, it is a dominant bait when you're around them. So this could mean you know a lake really well. You know where the bass live. You're out there a lot. You don't necessarily have to go looking for them. You're just stopping on spots that have fish. A swim jig's a really good player. Or if you're fishing a river system, places where the bass are going to live. They're going to live in those current breaks. A swim jig is a really good bait for that. I just feel like you're going to get more bites on this when you're around fish than you will on any other bait. Now, what I like about this, anytime you have a bunch of fish that are concentrated in an area, which is going to happen on grass lakes, the swim bait is subtle. You know, it's a much subtler action than doing the Alabama shake on top with a craw. You just mop them up, fish after fish, and you're not like breaking the school up, or you're not really like scaring anything. You're just subtly catching bass. So I feel like if I need to just catch a bunch of fish, I know they're in one general area, swim jig with this. Now, if that's not totally the case, let's say I'm going down the bank looking for bass, or I know the bass are going to be on a specific type of cover, I like the craw trailer, and I like the Alabama shake. So 3 different style jigs here. I have my compact jig, which is going to have a smaller hook, a 4/0. I feel like the bass can get it better with that smaller hook, and just the whole bait is much smaller. It's much smaller profile. I'm not going to scare any bass away with this. This is a no jack. This is a Dirty Jigs no jack. It's got a 5/0 hook, so one size bigger, and then this is a side wash super line hook that you can throw it on braid. This is more of a search bait for me because it's giving off action. It's got vibration, so you're gonna find the more aggressive bass with this bait. This is a special technique anytime that water's 58 to 70, 75, 58 to 75 we'll say. So coolish, but warm enough where the fish are really active. The Alabama shake, and I like it on braid. A lot easier to implement that action. You're typically fishing it around cover, so you're gonna land more fish with the braid, but this is cover oriented or banks, you know, shallow water where maybe you don't have any cover, but you just have, you know, you need to deflect and make that bait look crazy. Alabama shake. Now, you do have an in-between there. So this is a normal Dirty Jig swim jig, and I will fish this, and it's got that 5/0 hook, but I will fish this kind of around docks, around, you know, places where you wouldn't necessarily want to put braided line, but you still want to be shaking it. So this for me is floats, marina, stuff like that. This is a really killer technique for those type situations. So the swim jig has a lot of different situations. The biggest thing that you should take away from this is as you get less visibility from the conditions, that's when you want to start adding white to your bait. But when you get more sun, the visibility opens up, that's when you want to start adding more green pumpkin. So you look at this skirt right here, mostly translucent, but you have these little strands of green in there. That's just going to make that bait look a little bit more natural. So that's very important when you're in clear water and you have a lot of sun. But swim jig is a dominant technique. You've got to be around fish. It's not a great search bait, but when you do get around them, I don't feel like there's a better bait than a swim jig. So try those different little tweaks. Good luck to you guys, and I'll see you on the water.